I used to think routine was proof of love. We had a rhythm, my wife and I. Sarah worked at a marketing agency downtown. I managed operations for a small logistics company. Our schedules were steady, our evenings predictable. We had a running joke about being boring at a professional level. Dinner together most nights, laundry on Sundays, a glass of wine on Friday after work when we both collapsed onto the couch like synchronized swimmers. For years, that was enough. Or at least, I thought it was. The first sign something was different came disguised as nothing. She started stepping out to take calls. At first, it made sense. Clients, partners, a boss who liked to micromanage. But I noticed she didn't just leave the room. She closed the door behind her. She lowered her voice. When she came back, she always carried her phone with her, face down. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself she was just protecting her time, that work had gotten more stressful. But the moments piled up like receipts in a drawer. One evening, I logged into our joint account to pay a bill. I wasn't looking for anything, but I noticed a charge at a restaurant across town. 2 entrees, 2 drinks. The total matched what Sarah had said was just coffee with a client. I stared at the screen a long time, then closed it. I didn't confront her. Instead, I started keeping notes. Nothing elaborate. Just a page in a notebook I left in the desk drawer. Tuesday, said coffee. Charge shows dinner for 2. Thursday, said late meeting. Lift receipt from a bar near the river. I didn't write emotions. Just facts. It made me feel steady, even if I didn't know what to do with them yet. Our marriage still had warmth. That's what made it confusing. On Saturdays, she curled up next to me on the couch, feet tucked under my leg. She still texted me jokes during meetings, the kind you have to stifle laughter over. She still bought my favorite beer without me asking. It wasn't absence I felt, it was partition. Like I was only allowed in half her life now. I started noticing her new clothes. Not expensive, not flashy, but deliberate. Dresses a little too sharp for a day at the office. A new perfume with a sweetness that lingered in the hall long after she'd left. I asked once, casually, "Big presentation today?" She smiled and said, "Sorta," then brushed past the question. One night, I walked past the spare room while she was on a call. Her voice was low, intimate, and she laughed in a way I hadn't heard in months. A softer laugh, one she used to give me when we were just dating. The door creaked under my weight, and she stopped mid-sentence, then opened it a crack. "Sorry," she said. "Client meltdown." She kissed me quickly on the cheek before going back inside. The notebook entry for that night just said, "Different laugh." Over time, the pattern sharpened. She claimed late meetings but came home with her hair freshly styled, not tired the way late nights at work used to leave her. There were duplicate receipts from the same cafe, 5 minutes apart. A charge for flowers, though she never brought any home. An Uber ride from a part of town where neither of us had reason to be. I tried to dismiss it all. I told myself stories. Maybe she was planning a surprise for me. Maybe the flowers were for a client. Maybe the dinners were networking. But my body stopped believing what my mind wanted to. Every time her phone buzzed, I felt my chest tighten. Every time she said, "Don't wait up," I wrote another line in the notebook. The worst part was that she still looked at me like nothing had changed. She still said, "Love you," as she grabbed her keys. She still laughed at the shows we watched together. But behind it all, I could feel a wall growing. Something she was protecting, something that wasn't mine. The night it all tipped over was a Friday. She left saying she was meeting coworkers for drinks. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with the notification from our building's smart lock. The door had opened again. She hadn't forgotten anything. She had picked something up. I checked the app. She'd been inside for less than 2 minutes. When she came home hours later, tipsy and glowing, she said, "Team night out. Good to blow off steam." I smiled, nodded, and kissed her forehead. After she fell asleep, I went to the drawer, opened the notebook, and wrote. Friday. Said drinks with coworkers. Door alert shows she came back after leaving. Why? That was the first night I admitted to myself that I couldn't just collect facts forever. Sooner or later, I would need to see with my own eyes what the numbers and words had been whispering. I didn't know when or how, but I knew. The next time she said, "Don't wait up," I wouldn't. The next time she said, "Don't wait up," I didn't. It was a Thursday. She kissed me lightly, grabbed her coat, and said she had a client dinner that might run late. Her eyes held mine for a second longer than usual, as if asking me to believe her. I smiled, said, "Okay, have fun," and let the door close behind her. When the elevator groaned down the shaft, I waited. 100 slow heartbeats, the way a child might count before seeking in a game of hide and seek. Then I grabbed my keys and followed. Her car pulled out of the garage and turned left. I kept 3 vehicles back, hands gripping the wheel tighter than I wanted. She wasn't driving toward downtown, where the restaurants and client meetings usually happened. She was heading west, into a quieter part of the city, an area with boutique hotels, dim bars, and streets that always smelled faintly of perfume and rain. She parked under a streetlight, smoothed her hair in the mirror, and stepped out. The black dress she wore was the one I'd once told her made her look like trouble in the best way. I felt my stomach tighten. Then I saw him. Tall, clean-cut, waiting outside the hotel lobby. His hand went immediately to the small of her back, casual, practiced. She smiled, not the tired smile she gave me after work, but the light, bright one I hadn't seen in months. They walked inside together, side by side, like people who belonged to each other. I stayed in the car, parked across the street, watching them disappear through the revolving doors. The golden light from the lobby swallowed them whole. I opened the notebook on my passenger seat and wrote, Thursday. Hotel. 7:52 p.m. together. The letter shook under my hand. It didn't feel like an entry anymore. It felt like a verdict. I didn't follow them in. I didn't take photos. I didn't want more details. I already had enough. The way her body leaned toward his was proof. The way he touched her back was proof. The way she smiled was proof. Driving home, the city blurred past in streaks of neon and rain. I felt like a ghost among the living. People were laughing at restaurant tables, rushing for buses, leaning into each other under umbrellas. Their lives moved forward. Mine had just split in two. When she came back that night, the lie came easily to her lips. Dinner ran long. Client talk. Boring, honestly. She dropped her bag by the door and headed toward the bedroom. I was waiting at the kitchen table with the notebook open. She froze when she saw it. Her eyes flicked to the page, to me, then back to the page. She didn't speak. I saw you, I said quietly. Her face drained of color. She pulled out a chair, sat down across from me, and folded her hands like a child caught cheating on a test. You followed me. No, I said. I watched. She swallowed hard. Her shoulders sank. You saw us. Yes. And just like that, the performance ended. No denials, no excuses. She knew the truth was too heavy to move. Her voice trembled. It started at work. Late nights, long hours, just talking. Then it became more. I didn't plan it. I swear I didn't. But I didn't stop it either. My throat was dry, but I managed. How long? 6 months, she whispered. I closed my eyes. Half a year of dinners, weekends, mornings where she kissed me before leaving. Half a year of lies layered neatly like bricks in a wall I hadn't noticed growing between us. Do you love him? I asked before I could stop myself. She looked at me, eyes glassy. Not like I love you. Then what is this? Her hands opened helplessly. It was excitement. Escape. Something that wasn't responsibility, or bills, or routine. It doesn't mean you didn't matter. It means I was selfish. And I broke everything. I let her words hang in the air. They didn't fix anything. They just filled the silence with sharper edges. Finally, I said, You could have told me when it started. You could have stopped. Instead, you chose to lie. That's what I can't forgive. Tears slid down her cheeks. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't want to lose you. You already did, I said. That night she packed a bag. The sound of the zipper was louder than thunder. She paused at the door, eyes swollen. I'll always regret this. I know, I said. Then she was gone. The door clicked shut, leaving the apartment too quiet, too honest. The days after felt hollow, but strangely clear. I didn't have to wonder anymore. The lies had ended, even if the marriage had too. I called a lawyer, not to fight, but to understand what came next. I told friends only what I had to. We separated. I leaned on my sister, who showed up with groceries and stayed until the silence didn't feel so sharp. Sarah texted a few times in the weeks that followed. I ended it. It's over. I'm sorry. I didn't reply. Some truths arrived too late to matter. I started new rituals. Rearranging furniture. Cooking meals for one. Writing in a fresh notebook, but not about lies or suspicions. Just about ordinary things. The weather, the way the cat curled in the sun, the bread from the bakery down the street. Small things that were still mine. One evening, months later, I walked past the hotel where I'd seen them. The brass letters glowed the same. A couple walked in laughing, hand in hand. My pulse stayed steady. I kept walking. I stopped at a bakery, bought bread still warm from the oven, and carried it home. The apartment was quiet, but no longer empty. It was mine. The cat meowed at me like I was late, and I laughed. For the first time in a long time, it felt like the truth.